What a movie. Film to table. We're back.
Wow.
Another year.
Wow.
This definitely had me thinking about 2024 when we started off the year. I'm pretty sure we started off the year when we saw what's the late Night with the Devil. Like this movie a movie that was just kind of a little bit out of, I don't want to say out of nowhere, but like
a little under the radar, I think.
Knew very little about it, and then was kind of like,
starts like building.
Hey, we should go see that.
Word of mouth a little bit.
Right, and then it's kind of one of those, if we get around to it or whatever.
Right, like, I guess we're not doing anything tonight. You want to do that?
No, and we did. Yeah. We had a special like event that we were doing tonight, so I think it was just the timing ended up being really perfect for this. I feel like, but yeah, I feel like we're starting off this year already with two pretty good movies that that I've really, really enjoyed. And this one, I don't know, we're only February, but it's like favorite movie of the year already, maybe.
It shot up a fair bit, I feel like. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So my name is Eli.
I'm Denise.
And this is Film to Table, and we're gonna talk about a new movie. I feel like we tend to do newer movies. Maybe we'll get better at doing some rewatches this year. But this is it's been a minute. I mean, granted, the last movie we saw, I did want to talk about, but it was just late, and we had to get home, and then we had to go to bed.
Yeah.
It's not a school night tonight, so I did want to talk about this one. So we just got home from watching Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. I feel like we can't. It would be very difficult to go spoiler free, so we'll do our best to talk about some of the aspects up front without giving away too much. I will. So when this episode of this podcast comes out, I will have hoped or guessed that the movie has been out for a little bit. Hopefully, it's done well. And so hopefully you know about the movie.
I mean, I guess from how many people surprisingly were in the theater today. Hopefully it does.
So that was something I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
But let's carefully tiptoe around this movie just to kind of give some sort of impression, because there's a couple things about this, both from a marketing standpoint, but also like people and whatnot, and things. So, I feel like, this movie is a science fiction movie. This is probably what you would call true science fiction in its best form of it. It's an alternate reality of ours. It's based on our current reality in our current time, in our current timeline, I guess you could say, but from a very like high level, summarizing a lot of the things that are happening in our world right now that I think is like the basis of this movie, right? And a lot of that has to do with how quickly technology and things like that have really like come to the forefront of our current reality. So the fictional world is based in that reality. However, it's clearly science fiction. It deals with it deals with like I don't think saying that it deals with time travel gives away anything, because that's not really the point of the movie. But it does deal with time travel in a very interesting way, and in a very like that's only a like a hinge of the movie, like an anchor point. The rest of it really has something very, very poignant to say. It has something almost like, for some people it's going to be very direct, and it's like, okay, that's very on the nose. And while it is, it does it in a way that I feel is like something that we all need right now.
Well, I feel like it doesn't I feel like it walks kind of a fine line between being preachy, but also being kind of in your face about it.
Yes and no. I feel like it, to me, it did not feel preachy at all because.
Well, I'm saying like
it can be.
It was
Yes.
almost preachy. I feel like if they had kind of said just a couple more lines in whatever direction, I feel like it could have been
Sure.
preachy.
Well, I will say it is very preachy to some people. Like there's a certain demographic, a certain age range, and maybe a certain group of people right now that this is going to come off as very preachy to them.
Well, let's talk about first. So you want to just talk about the movie, just the premise, the overarching premise is just well, like the summary of the movie as you see on IMDb is basically like,
that's fair.
A guy that shows up to a diner, and he is claims does it say that he claims he's from the future?
Yeah.
And that he's trying to collect a group of people on a mission to kind of save the world.
Yeah.
That's the most basic outline premise, right? And then it kind of starts to unfold as to like what exactly is he talking about?
What is this mission?
Like what is this mission?
Yeah.
It's like very it's kind of a crossover into different sci-fi action that we've grown up with that we love. There's a little bit of Terminator in there. There's a little bit of The Matrix.
Yeah.
I really it kept showing in my brain like 12 Monkeys was what I thought about the whole time.
Yeah.
But the much more kind of fun comedic version of 12 Monkeys.
Yeah, yes, a very lighthearted.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Like
it was still grim, but like the delivery was fun.
Yes.
I don't know, like it was like
it was funny in a
barbershop quartet, but about the end of the world.
Almost like in a not at the level of Idiocracy, but the tone and lightness of Idiocracy, where it's like you could make Idiocracy pretty dark if you wanted to.
Totally.
But it tends to be more funny and fantastical.
Yeah.
This is like that, but then going in another direction.
Yeah.
That, while still funny, can be dark and at moments was kind of like.
Well, it's almost like if you sit and think about it too much, even though it is some funny moments, and we did laugh out loud and say what the fuck a whole lot. When you really sit down and think about it, it's actually like really bleak.
Yes.
And dark. You just have to chew on it for a minute to be like, wait a minute.
That's probably going to happen as we talk about it here. But I think that is. It's fair to say, if you haven't seen this movie, you're listening to this because you're interested, just stop now and just, I guess, trust us that it's best to not know too much about this movie.
Go in completely cold.
Go in as cold as you can. Like, I know that some people get very apprehensive because they're like, well, I need to know.
Yeah.
But I think like what you are saying, it's a mission to save the world.
Yeah.
And that's basically it. And it's a really fun, how do we complete this mission without knowing even the bits ourselves as the audience. And I kind of want to speak to a couple aspects of this, especially like from the marketing side of things, because if you see the poster for it, it's very like misleading in a way that it made me think of which director did I say at the theater?
Oh, Terry Gilliam.
Yeah, Terry Gilliam.
I can see that. Yeah.
Based on the poster alone,
it's
I was
kind of
like,
a goofy, kind of comic-y.
Yes, I expected that.
Yeah.
But I got some of that, but I didn't get all that.
Yeah.
But if you look at the poster, you definitely get that. The poster also, for some reason, makes me think of that Thousands of Beavers, or that one movie.
Oh,
that's the crazy.
Well, I can see that
because
Sam Rockwell's like really rocking a beard.
Yes, he's got this like bizarre,
crazy hat. Yeah, bizarre outfit. I can kind of see that.
Yeah, and so I kind of expected that, but then I think what I kind of the tones and vibes that I got out of it was more along the lines of. And what was that movie that we watched last year that I showed you guys? The one, the Spanish one, where it's like the mutant revolution, or
yeah. That one's a weird one.
Oh, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it had like a very science fiction like out there vibe. It also had a very like tone to well, this may be a little bit more out there, but like Dark City, it made me think of that. It made me think of City of the Lost Children, and a couple other sort of movies that I don't know. They have like this alternate reality future.
Yeah.
That it makes sense, but I don't know. Like it's kind of hard to place how it was feeling at the very beginning. And then, I mean, one of the big reasons why we ended up watching this, just in general, was this morning we were doing our Saturday morning routine, I guess, and we were watching the Corridor Crew podcast, I guess, or their
YouTube channel.
Yeah, their webcast or whatever, and they were talking about this movie, and they were talking about some of the visual effects.
They actually talked to Gore Verbinski.
Yeah, the director of the movie, and they talked about practical effects and a couple things along those aspects. I found that interesting.
Yeah,
and then I meant to tell you this, but like this is interesting because like had been getting a crap ton of ads on Instagram for this movie.
Oh, wild! This is super meta.
I know.
I kind of hate it.
Well,
but here's
the thing, and this is what you were alluding to, what we were saying. The theater was almost packed. And I don't remember seeing this trailer on television, or I never saw it much on YouTube.
Man, are they astroturfing like the TikToks?
Well, we'll get to that. I think when we get to after we ask you to stop listening and we start talking a little bit more about the deeper part of this movie. Because it's funny because these ads kept coming up for me and I kept sort of like, oh, I don't know what this is. I'm just going to go past it. Yeah. And then it's like, I don't know what this is. I'm going to go past it. And it kept coming up to the point where I was like, what is this? Like, why does it keep coming up? Like, they're really trying to force this on me. And so sure enough, I watched it, or I watched enough that they start to explain what the movie is. And then I was like, oh, is this the movie we're going to go watch tonight? And sure enough, it was. So I thought that was really interesting because we went to go have dinner. We took our bestie friend out for his birthday and had a very fine, delicious
Valentine meal.
Yeah, Valentine meal.
Date.
He's a Valentine baby.
Yeah.
So we had that, and I didn't buy tickets because I was like, I'm sure it'll be fine. Like,
yeah, it's like an indie movie. I haven't even seen the trailer.
Nobody knows about this movie.
Nobody knows.
It'll be
for
fine.
Sure.
We checked when we were in line for dinner, and it was getting close to being sold out. So we were like, oh crap, I guess we should get tickets now.
Which is wild.
Because I was like, I don't pay the credit card fees. Like, we'll just buy them there.
What is the last time you remember us wanting to go to a movie first weekend out? And it was close to getting sold out.
I actually was thinking we should go watch this opening weekend because no one's going to go watch it, and we'll have plenty. We'll be the only ones in the theater.
When is the first time you can think of? Like, when is the last time you can think of that happened?
That we wanted to go see a movie and it was like almost sold out.
I mean, Avengers, maybe, I don't know, like the last time.
Well, and even back then when we were watching those movies, like I would tell you, like I don't need to see it opening weekend.
Right,
like,
totally.
I don't care enough to go see it opening weekend. I can wait a week or two. So yeah, no, you're right. I can't think of
a movie that came out on opening weekend.
Yeah, that we almost had to like have to pass on because there weren't going to be seats. So there's an interesting, I think, like I really want to research more into this. I did notice here that the movie said that it was a 2025 movie. So I was like, wait a minute, like, when did this movie come out?
Oh, like, it made in 2025?
Well, so according to this, or I was like, I was trying to find out when the release date was. So technically this is the release weekend. So it is wide this weekend, but it did release at Fantastic Fest in 2025.
That makes sense.
So that was I guess it's
technical release.
It's and I guess maybe it was looking for distribution or something. Because I can't say I remember I can't remember seeing the or looking at the logos in the beginning. I was like, I don't recognize any of these these aren't big logos or
Yeah.
big production studios. These are much smaller ones. But yeah, it says in September 24th in 2025 at Fantastic Fest. And then it had its wide release technically yesterday it started. So yeah, it's this is going to be an interesting 2025, I think, or I'm sorry, 2026, because this is like I'm very very curious of what this is going to do in the box office. I doubt it does well, but this could also be one of those. I doubt it does well, but then word of mouth starts to spread around and people start kind of seeing it,
Yeah.
and then it starts getting a little more buzz and a little more buzz. And I'm hoping that's what ends up happening here because this is a very very interesting movie, and the aesthetics of it are very good. Like the cinematography was outstanding.
I was gonna say this made me miss having Gore Verbinski push out his movies because it's like, where has he been this whole time?
Yeah,
Because he makes some beautiful movies.
yeah,
And I know he got stuck in like the whole giant franchise thing for a second there. But nobody can argue that at the very least, the very first Pirates of the Caribbean movies was like a feat of like, it was beautiful, it was well shot, it was well done, the CG was incredible. Like everything worked with that movie. And it just made you like want more, which obviously they did the I don't know, maybe less interesting ones after, but I don't know. He's such a talented director. I mean, he did The Ring, the American adaptation
yeah.
of The Ring, which is an incredible movie as well. I mean, he's just, I don't know. He's so talented. Like his movies are so beautiful visually,
Right.
I feel like. And this kind of return to form with this particular movie, I thought was so, honestly, so brilliant because like there was something about it that felt, I mean, we talked about, I think it's just technically like an independent movie, isn't it?
This movie?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
yeah.
it felt like it could have, I don't know, I kept thinking like this movie looks cheap, but it doesn't feel cheap. I don't know if that makes sense. Like it could be in somebody else's hands, like kind of a clunky I feel like this could have been fumbled really easily as far as like getting you to come along for the ride and
Sure.
believe it. But the way everything was shot, and obviously like the performances were so good that like you couldn't help but want to be in it with them.
Yeah.
And I think that has, I don't know, there was something about it that you really, at least for me, I bought all the way into it.
yeah.
I was completely engrossed like every step of the way. Like I know it was kind of a longish movie. What was it? Probably hit over 2 hours.
Yeah, I think it was about 205 or 210.
Yeah, and I didn't feel any of that at all. Like it was just such a fun movie experience, and you don't get that so much anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like a wholly original IP as far as I know.
It felt like a super well drawn out comic book when you get a good science fiction like comic book, and you're just like you're drawn in by the visuals, but then you're like, oh, this is a good story too. Like
I feel like
that's
even,
how I felt for me.
Yeah, I feel like even beyond that though, there was something about kind of the visual storytelling of it that felt very like cinematic. That I don't know, it felt like kind of, I know like the mission was kind of grand and epic and like whatever, but like it felt so contained to this like band of people. But it still felt like a big story. I don't know, like I don't know if I'm explaining this right, but it just had this feel for me of like it's so engrossing that you don't think about that it kind of looks like an independent movie.
Well,
I don't know if that makes sense.
It's funny you say that because I don't feel like it felt like an independent movie to me. It felt like it was shot by like some of the best cinematographers
It
that
looked
you could, but
incredible. Like I just had to stop myself and be like, I don't know, there were points of it where I was like, this shouldn't have worked. Like this scene right here, like it feels like it would have been really easy to fumble this if it was anybody else
Well,
directing it. I don't know. There was something about it that was like for some reason, all of the pieces kind of fit perfectly.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like from a pure production value, I feel like there was probably, well, and I'm not trying to speak poorly of like any of the crew or cast or whatever, right? But like, so I'm looking at the cinematographer's his resume of work, and some of the only things that really stand out to me that I've seen of his work, in particular, and you know, this looks like one of those guys who he takes whatever work he can sort of take on.
Sure.
But the ones that really call out to me is like he was a cinematographer on a Radiohead video. There was a movie called Thank You for Smoking that I really enjoyed.
Oh wow! Okay.
And he was the director of that. He directed a Aphex Twins music video, and then there's not really a whole lot in here other than like Pawn Shop Chronicles and he did one of the Hawkeye TV shows and another other sort of whatever. But I say all this again not to belittle this guy's resume, but the lighting, the framing, everything that was put into this is everything that I want to do as a creative person as well too, because and again, this isn't a spoiler. The movie starts like in a diner, which is a really cool diner. I don't know if it's like a real diner, but regardless, it was very well lit. It was very well framed. Everything gave you a sense of science fiction based on the lighting and the framing and everything. That's why I say, much like a comic book, it's almost like this must have been very well storyboarded out, because you're right. There's a lot there that probably and maybe shouldn't work, but it does work because they put the time and effort to make sure that this was super well lit, and it executed in a way that is really, really good. So I have to speak really highly of like the cinematography and the thought put into this, and the set design and everything, like the costume design, like the casting is really good because they didn't cast like these super attractive people, or like they didn't cast tropey.
And it's funny because I actually love all these actors for all of they're kind of really strong character actors. I feel like there's Juno Temple. I mean, obviously Sam Rockwell, who is I can watch him in anything really.
Right.
And who's also kind of similarly to Gore Verbinski. I feel like I think he's done some voice acting for some animated movies, but like on the whole, we haven't seen him in a while.
Right.
And then there's Juno Temple, who we love from Ted Lasso. There's Haley Lou Richardson. She's kind of newish on the scene, but she's been working.
Yeah.
Like I saw her first in White Lotus, and she was great in that. And then there was she's in a new show with what's her name? Daenerys from.
Oh, from I'm not familiar
from
with
Game of Thrones. They have a show called Ponies, and I think they're like spies or something like that.
Oh, okay.
And that actually looks like a fun little show. I think it's on Prime. But she's been working. She's been putting out some work out there, and she was awesome in this movie.
She's really good.
I am really eager to watch her over the next several years in her career, because she's been great in just about everything I've seen her in. And then there was Michael Pena was in it. Zazie Beetz, who I have she's so cool. I have such a girl crush on her because she seems so awesome.
Oh, okay, yeah, I remember her. She was
yeah.
In I guess probably most people would know her from Deadpool.
From Deadpool,
2. Yeah.
She's such a badass.
Yeah.
And then I think. Is that pretty much all of them?
Yeah, the other actors, I don't know if we've really seen them in much. But I think that they were great. They're just they were cast basically, I think, on the needs of the story, and not
totally. And not stunt casting as far as
right, it's a big name or whatever. Yeah.
I mean, they were picked I don't know. They were all of them were so good in their roles in this perfect
Yeah,
casting.
really,
Honestly,
really like it's funny because this is one of those few movies that it really is the cast that carries this
yeah.
movie
Oh,
and
100%.
not one person.
100%.
Like, I mean, you could easily say that Sam Rockwell is like the main actor, but probably just due to like his seniority of the time that he's been in cinema, not so much because he actually is carrying the movie. Like
Yeah.
he's just top bill, I guess you could
Yeah,
say.
and I think they work off each other so well. Like it really is truly like a really
It's
great ensemble
it's a little
cast.
shocking that he actually hasn't been in more roles like this.
I know. I love him so much.
Yeah,
He's so good.
he
in
does it
everything.
really, really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like so we probably need to get into the meat and potatoes of this. Hey, the podcast is called Film Table.
Oh.
So we probably need to get into the meat and potatoes of this. So I guess we'd have to say, like, from this point, you know, you're 20 minutes in, you've been listening. If you haven't seen this movie, if whatever we're saying hopefully interests you enough, go ahead and stop here, watch the movie, then come back, and then hear what we have to say about it, because we kind of have to spoil it in order to talk about the actual, like, the main course of this movie, because there's a lot to talk about, and I have a lot of thoughts about it. But I will say this is, I mean, like I said, it's only February, but this is definitely going to be one of my favorite movies of this year. And I doubt it'll get any sort of Oscar attention, but I would love if it did, from a story, like original story.
Original screenplay at the very least.
At the very least. I doubt it'll get any sort of acting accolades or anything like that. But and you know, this is, I want to say it's for like a very specific audience, but this is a movie that is,
I don't know. I mean, just looking around the audience tonight, I thought it was so interesting.
it was an interesting mix.
It was
of people,
it
for
was
sure.
such a fun cross section. Just it happens to be Valentine's Day, so obviously there were the little dates. But there were like groups of dudes in there, which I thought was so interesting. Like I don't know if I see very much of that anymore. Just little gang of guys like with nothing else to do but watch a movie. Like
Yeah, they had some interesting things to say on the way out.
yeah, it was funny. Like overhearing a lot of the conversation around it.
Yeah, so go ahead and stop here. And now you can listen to what we have to say about this, because, oh boy, like, man, I haven't been this excited. Well, and it's funny. So I should say I wasn't necessarily excited going in, but I was very intrigued. But I haven't been this excited. We were joking about it as we were walking back to the car, because I was like, I love when I'm not sure where these movies are going, and there's an excitement because they could go down the normal trope, and you think you can maybe figure it out.
Yeah.
And I did. There was one aspect of this that I was like, oh, I bet you I know what this is.
Right. No, I know exactly what.
And I
which one.
think you can easily piece that together.
Yeah.
That said, though, it still was like, I don't know where this is going.
Right.
And we talked about this when we also saw Send Help, which had a little bit of a straight line to it, but then honestly, watching that one, I was like, I don't know where this is going either. Like,
Yeah.
I have a feeling I know how this is going to end, but the way that movie was set up, it's like this could end in multiple different ways, and I'll be happy with anyone. So I'm interested to see how the dice is going to fall.
Do you know there's a connection between this movie and that movie? Mm-mm. The writer for this movie also wrote Love and Monsters.
Oh yeah,
Whose main guy is the same guy as in Send Help.
Oh, the CEO guy?
Uh-huh.
That's the guy from Love and Monsters?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I guess we saw that movie during the pandemic.
Oh,
so that
like
was like
forever
6
ago.
years ago, right? So I guess that makes sense, because he
Yeah.
was like all ripped and
Was
in shape, and he
much
was like
younger too. Yeah.
I mean, he was like, yeah, he looked like the comic book, or not the comic book guy, but the delivery guy from The Simpsons in that movie. Like, he looked real scrawny and like acne face, and just kind of like, you want some fries with that? Like, I didn't think about that, or I didn't know that. Even though I did see that he had written Love and Monsters, and I was like, that movie had a lot of heart. I thought that was like a good
that
movie.
was a fun movie.
Like, it was very hopeful, and I was like, maybe
Yeah.
it's just because of the pandemic and we all have feelings, but I In retrospect, I remember seeing that
Yeah.
or a little bits of it on television, and I thought it was really good. Like I was like, this is actually a solid movie for as much CG and stuff was in it. That didn't break the illusion as much as like again another fantastical sort of realm. And like what you were saying here a minute ago, this is one of those movies that if you don't buy into what they're trying to sell you here pretty early on, like you're just not gonna get it. And you're
Yeah,
not,
you gotta tap out. Yeah.
you're gonna push against it. And if you're one of those people that's like, well, wait a minute.
Yeah,
Like,
if you're the kind of person that like is looking for holes,
Yeah,
this
if-
probably
yeah,
is not
if-
going to be fun for you.
if your whole point is to like, basically like,
Just be contrarian about
yeah,
like the plot.
5 reasons why the
Yeah.
cinema is like failing,
God,
and then
hate
that's like
those.
that's the cover of your YouTube video. And I know like sometimes it's like every movie we watch is good and we don't talk about bad things. It's like no, I think we look for the good and the fun that's in these movies. And this movie to me kind of goes back, and I mentioned this when I've told you like movies like Mandy or movies that they put a lot out there. Like it takes a lot of guts to put a movie like this out there. And
Absolutely,
because
absolutely.
you have to get people to buy into your world. You have to get people
Yeah.
to really like it's one thing when people say like they always tell you when you're writing like these things like you got to have the hook. You got to have if you don't buy them in the first couple of minutes and it's like this big. That's why like Michael Bay will like have like the massive explosion, or you'll have like the super intense gun sequence, and you're like, whoa, what is happening? And then it's like hits black, and it's like the action man, and then it's like and then the movie starts or whatever. This movie, in its own way, kind of did that, but I felt I don't want to say for a more intelligent audience, but it really was. If somebody, it's like, hey, so what if somebody walked in here right now and said they were from the future? Like, how would you?
Yeah.
How would you? Why would you believe them?
It was
if they said that?
instantly engaging. And Sam Rockwell sold it in such a way that you didn't necessarily want to stop and think, like, why doesn't anybody just call the police like right now?
Right.
Or like, why doesn't anybody tackle him right? Like he's so engaging and fun to watch that like you don't want to think about doing
Right,
that
exactly.
because he's doing his thing. Like,
Yeah,
shut up.
why wouldn't you just live stream this
Yeah.
immediately from your phone
Exactly.
or this or that or whatever? And
You're like so bought into what's happening.
right.
And I think what's so exciting about, and I think I don't know if I want to speak for you in that case, because I know that you were just saying how excited you were about this movie. But I think what is most exciting about, for me, for a movie like this is that it happened at all. In the climate that we're in now,
Right. Mm-hmm.
with the kind of shit that's going on in Hollywood as far as like only franchises now, or only like fucking the 80th reboot of something,
Right.
or whatever.
Or you're making
like,
a political statement about the current.
the 8th sequel of something. It's like on and on and on, and it's the same thing, kind of like washed in a tub and wrung out and like used
Again,
all over again
right.
and again and again and beat up. And I think, and it's funny because in this movie, it does feel like a pastiche of so many other like sci-fi movies without feeling super derivative
Yeah.
of that.
Right.
Which I thought was so like it's such a deft hand as far as like being able to execute in that sense, like its own ideas, and still hearkening back to a lot of those old like 80s 90s action
Right.
sci-fi movies, but kind of like its own
Well,
refreshing take on it.
Yeah, it is, right? Because like so here's the big spoiler, right? The movie is about AI. The movie is about
Right.
the movie is about how AI is going to destroy us.
Right.
The difference being, as a kid in the 80s, the way that AI would destroy us would be like through robots and
Right,
guns
totally.
and lasers.
Totally.
And then we got the Terminator. And that was exciting because it was like, there was an idea that, you know what, that's not too far-fetched, right? Like,
yeah.
wars
yeah.
wars are happening.
That doesn't sound impossible.
Laser guided missiles. It's
Totally.
like, what does that mean? It's like,
Yeah.
it just means it can go more straight than it used to. Like,
Right.
there's not really a whole lot more advanced there.
Yeah.
But there was this like inkling that like computers will get better, things will get smarter, and then they will like, you know,
The what is it called? They gain consciousness.
yeah, it will, yeah. And so I feel like in the 80s, like like a young sort of like James Cameron would be like, man, like he spiraled in a way that was like, this is going to go bad, in that they are going to rise up and they're going to like destroy us by like power, because steel is strong. And like, I mean, even when they show like at the beginning of the Terminator, they show those Terminator skeletons walking,
and just walking around,
and they look scary and it's awesome. And it's like, that is AI. But now AI has gone the other way in that like it'll destroy us by making us fat and lazy.
It's basically the Wall-E version.
Yeah,
of like,
to a degree.
Yeah. It's kind of a combination of like Wall-E, in that we become apathetic and like consumed by these devices so that we don't care what's happening anymore.
Right.
In which case like AI takes over, because it's like a self-perpetuating whatever that just keeps you entertained the whole time. So it takes advantage of that and then becomes like, I don't know,
becomes
basically
our master.
the Matrix or something.
It becomes our master because we become complacent.
Yeah.
And it's easier to not fight wars and do whatever and be complacent, because living in an artificial world is so much better than
easier.
The nonsense we have to deal with day to day, right? And we're feeling it even more and more in today's climate of like, when people say like, what was it? I just want to drink my beer and fish my fish. And like, I just want to be like, it's almost like I want to be left alone. But in reality, you know, whether it's people like that or it's other people that are like, you know, want their things and just don't want to have to deal with like the arguments and the fighting and everything that kind of happens there, that like social media is a distraction for all those things. And this movie is very heavily laid message of like, distractions are better. Like, don't use your brain. Like, don't engage in critical thinking or anything like that.
Or with each other.
Or anything. Like, it's better to just say, you know what? I don't want to get involved. I'm going to go scroll and look at cats and dogs on my feed. And basically like that takes away a lot from the human experience, right? Just the overall, like what
at
it
the
means.
same time, it shows how it can be so addictive, because when you are going through some tough shit and you don't want to confront it because it's hard and it's painful and it's everywhere, and you don't want to think about how awful people are.
And it's it's more, it almost feels more prevalent than it has ever been, as far as like the terrible things that are happening in our world.
Yeah.
And I think one could debate, well, not really. Like, it's always kind of been bad. It's just
you just see more of it.
Yeah, and then that turns into generational talk of like, well, Gen X didn't have this and blah blah blah. You know, I that's not the point of like this movie as much as it is. Like, for a moment there, I kind of felt like it was kind of leaning into that. Like, it was like, oh, are we going to say that like Gen X is better than everybody else because we didn't have phones? And I was like, yes, we are. But then I was like, wait a minute, no, that's not what they're saying. And I thought that was really interesting. But yeah, like, oh man, like, okay, so let's kind of just run through some of the big beats of the movie, because this is why I think we have to kind of talk spoilery, because this, we've talked a little bit, I don't know if we talked about it on a podcast. I want to say we have, but I like French extremity films because they take you to the edge of a conversation or a point. And in order for them to make their point, they have to take it and drive it in a place that sometimes we just don't want to go and don't want to talk about. And for them, at least in the French extremity era, that was usually through violence and things like that, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, we're gonna ratchet it to, and you now get this reference, we're gonna ratchet this to 11. The knobs go to 11. And even though you could make it 10 and just make that 11, this one has 11. And I feel like that's what French extremity is. This movie did that in a way that I have not felt in a while.
Yes.
And you could feel the uncomfortableness in the theater.
Oh, in the theater.
And I quickly started to make note on my finger, okay, how many people are going to get up and leave and how many people are not going to come back?
Right.
And I was a little shocked that my number was only one. I noticed one person that left and decided to not come back. Yeah. Everybody else, I was like, this is either an awkward time they're like, you know what, I'm gonna go use the restroom or get a popcorn refill,
Yeah.
because this is getting a bit much for me, and I
Like-
don't know if I can take it, but let's see what happens. And then
I mean, because there was that point. I don't know how much we want to get into it, but there was that point where the satire just drives so hard into the darkness.
yeah, well, yeah,
That like, okay, are they gonna keep going with this?
Yes.
Okay, they're gonna keep going
Yeah.
with this with
So-
this bit because it just keeps like twisting the knife over
Well-
and over, and it's like, you're right, but that really sucks to hear.
yeah. Not only did they twist the knife, but they got another knife and put it in your neck, and then started twisting both knives, both one in your stomach and the neck.
Yeah, so
because
we're-
I was like, man, this
Yeah.
is getting like it's borderline to say like distasteful or like,
100%.
but however, in order to make their point,
It's absolutely
it's,
necessary.
we are now maybe at that threshold where it's
Yeah.
like we have to do this. Before we talk about this particular scene, I'm only saying that because so the movie, like, just very quickly is like, you know, we find out that this guy's from the future. He's like, we have to save the world, and they're like, what are we saving the world from? And he's like, AI is going to take over everything, and it's because you're all a bunch of idiots. And he speaks a little bit basically to why AI takes over, and it goes into a little bit of what we were just talking about. And then you see some of the backstory of the people, and that's kind of the important part. Is the people that are in this like diner are going to make up this like basically this crew that's going to save the world, and everybody looks like a common person, and so we get these quick flashbacks of like, oh, this couple, they are teachers, and that's what they do. And teaching really sucks because the students are just completely enamored with their phones, and that's all they care about. And this one guy's a substitute teacher, and he's like, this is going to suck. This is going to be really hard. We get the other backstory of a mom who has a son who's in that same school, I believe, or maybe
I don't
a
think
school.
so.
I don't know if it was the same school, but she is a mom who has a son who's in school. And so we're getting the reasoning behind her being in the diner. It turns out that her son was lost in a school shooting. And these moments happen, and then there's like another backstory for another person, and we'll probably get to them in a minute. But basically, it's done in a very funny enough, kind of like a Pulp Fiction out of order sort of
yeah.
sequence, which is kind of interesting because it starts in a diner that looks very similar to the one in Pulp Fiction, and I don't know if that was like intentional, but then you get like this out of sequence stories, sort of flashbacks that kind of come back. But the moment that we're talking about in particular is, so the substitute teacher, he's like super like, man, this sucks because all the students want to do is be on their phones. And so this is where I was mentioning, it's very on the nose about like, yes, we are very enamored with our phones and technology and the screen in front of us, and that's all we focus on. And so they do that to a point where I can see people feeling very talked to or talked down to about like, hey, maybe you should get off your phones a little bit. Mm-hmm. And that's the whole high school sequence. And so we kind of understand that. We're like, okay, so maybe that's why this guy is part of this quest or whatever. But then they go to the mom, and the mom, who looks like a normal mom, find out that her son was killed at a school shooting. But even when we're looking at the substitute teacher, the way they treat school shootings is like, oh, hey, another school shooting, like drill.
One. Here we go.
Or whatever. And so they show them go into this like safe room.
Bunker or something.
Yeah, like a bunker safe room. And it's done in a way that's very like somewhat comedic, but also like, wait, we're making fun of like school shootings? Like that's like a real thing. But it happens so often now that the way they treat it is like, oh yeah, it's just another like school shooting. Yeah. And so like that's what makes me think actually that it was the same school that the mom had to deal with, because
see that, yeah.
The way that the whole sequence is dealt with, it's kind of like, oh yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
So then we go to the mom, and then that's when we get oh, your son was killed in a school shooting. And like it's a somewhat heartbreaking sequence because she, like they do the very cliche like slow mo, and she's coming up to the school, and she like lifts the thing off of like the sheet off, and then she sees that it's her son, and she completely breaks down, and you feel it in the moment, and you see her processing and grieving, and then I guess she's like at the I guess she's at the police station. It looked like
police station, I think.
And then they start talking about how there's like these other moms there that are like very Stepford Wives moms.
Yeah.
And they're kind of like, oh, is this like your first
time?
The first time?
And she's like, what?
Like, yeah, she's kind of like, well, what do you mean first time?
Because they're very like nonchalant about it and kind of almost like not even bothered by it.
Yeah. And then they were like, oh, and then she was like, yeah, this is like my first time. And they were like, oh, this is like my third time. And somebody else is like, oh yeah, that it won't be so bad once they give you like the whatever. Yeah, it goes into the it goes into, I don't know, like it goes into a space where it starts getting really dark really fast. Because
it basically just it feels very pointed directly at the audience of like,
hey, you guys have normalized this.
Yeah, you guys don't even give a shit anymore. It's just like moving on to the next day. When this is something like, it's almost like showing you through the glass what it looks like from the other side, as far as like, this is fucking insane and you guys are treating it like it's every day and that it's fine.
Right.
And this is how insane it looks from out here looking in there. Like, what the fuck are you guys doing? That's what that sequence felt like.
Yeah.
Because the more it kept going as to like, it's so normalized and everybody's so nonchalant about it. Like, my jaw kept dropping throughout that scene because it just got progressively more absurd how they treated it. It was like, went really quickly into like super dark satire.
Yeah.
And it was
well, and that's the thing, right? Is it really satire, or is it like you're saying, this is what it looks like from somebody who's
is not insane.
Maybe who doesn't like live in the US and like
totally.
mass shootings like this are not normalized.
Yeah.
And so they're like, why are you guys not like,
why are you not
doing
angry?
Anything? Yeah, why are you not angry? Why are you not doing anything about it? Why are you not like for like, people to be like, you know what, we will carry on. Like we will move on, and we will like instead of trying to do something
like
about it.
Anything. Like, just do anything.
It's more like, you know what, we will move on, and we will,
like, thoughts and prayers,
and we will carry on. Yeah. And I don't like, this isn't a red or blue discussion as much as it is like, it's just a normal, like we've gotten to this point,
like humanity discussion.
Right.
So like, I mean, I know we're not trying to do like red or blue, but I mean, it's kind of, it kind of put me back in that same headspace of like, okay, if we're not doing anything after Sandy Hook, then we're fucked as a country.
Right.
And sure enough, we didn't do anything after Sandy Hook.
And it's only gotten worse.
And it's only gotten,
we only normalize
like,
it.
so much worse.
We constantly do this could have been a lot worse. Like,
yeah.
And so
and then every time it is worse.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, well, I guess that's just how it is now, which is insane.
Right. And
just
so this
patently
movie,
insane.
yeah, this movie isn't about gun violence.
No, it isn't. That's a crazy thing.
No.
It's like, it doesn't even touch that at all.
Yeah.
It just shows you like, this is what you guys are doing.
Well, and I think but this circles back around, right? This is why I'm saying the French extremity sort of phrase that I use here is because the Okay, so this is where I guess it kind of goes. So the Stepford wife ladies say like, okay, you're going to be fine. Once they talk to you, you'll be okay. And it's like, wait, what? And so she gets like interviewed, or they give her a card, or they give her some info. And basically there is a company now that can clone your child, like physically clone your child. But, like, you, based on the DNA that they have, and it's the government will pay for it because it happened at a public school. And so like they'll foot the bill, even though it's a very expensive process to clone somebody, but they're like, oh, don't worry. Like the government takes care of it. And the mom is kind of like, wait, so you can bring my son back? And the guy that's talking to her in this like Apple store looking place,
so like punchable,
is but that's the thing, right? That's also where we're at, where he's like, it's almost like he's trying to complete like a transactional sale.
It totally is.
So he's like, well, it's not like exactly.
Well, he's like, well, we do our best.
Right. Well, physically, we've pretty much got it down to a T, but like mentally, personality wise, we, you know, about 80%, we kind of get there, and you know, it's we do our best, like you said, and so we were like, okay, that's weird, like, and again, this is kind of maybe science fiction-y tropey until they start going into like, well, let's set up the personality type for your son. And it's literally like, I mean, it's like building
it's like a word bank.
It's building it's like building a character in a game of like, well, what kind of things was your son into?
What was his hobbies?
What was his person? Like,
just pick 2 words though. We can't pick too many.
Yeah. Like, what was it that, what was his personality like? And she was like, well, he was just a good boy. But then it's like, oh, was he smart? Was he dumb? Was he
weird?
Yeah. Was he weird, or was he cool? Or, and she's like, like any mom trying to describe her son in a way that it's like he was my son. And he's like, yeah, sure. But like one of the words check one of the boxes that's here. And so, yeah, the guy is very punchable, but at the same time, you're like, this is kind of how we are with a lot of things.
Yeah.
And,
it's like the oversimplification of some stuff, because you don't want to deal with the complicated stuff. Like there were so many, I don't know, there were so many kind of jabs about how society is now, as far as like this distillation into just oversimplification of things, so that you don't have to deal with the complicated stuff.
Right.
Like grief, or like, you know, adjusting to life after death. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a complete denial of like going through a process, because it's like the human
like
way to do it.
Don't worry about your grief. We can eliminate your grief.
You don't even have to go through it at all.
We can eliminate your grief by substituting it with something else, and that is better for you. And then of course, like, so they're able to clone the kid, and that was the other thing. One of the options, wasn't it? One of the options for the kid was what was one of those personality types that?
Oh, like clumsy.
No. The one that
when he was like, "Are you sure you want to pick clumsy? Because that's probably how he died."
Yeah, that probably is how he died in the mass shooting. Like,
scratch this guy's eyes out.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Well, no, and there was another one in there too that was like, was he like an outsider or a weirdo or something like that? Yeah. And then she was like, yeah,
you know, he's weird.
And then like the guy was like, oh, well, actually that tends to be the shooters.
Oh yeah, no, she was like, well, he was more eccentric. And he was like, oh yeah, eccentric, that's good. But that would be more for the shooters.
The shooters. Yeah. He's like, but we keep them separate. Like we make sure that they don't.
It's a separate group.
Yeah, it's a separate group. We make sure that they don't like, you know, intermingle back in. Like it's almost like they through a bad AI design, they're like, oh yeah, there will be a chance that like we're gonna make another shooter.
What the fuck?
And so like that's when, okay, did that lead up to the part where they started talking about, what was it that they were talking about that was like, there were a number of things that they were talking about, but there was a sequence in particular that they kept turning, I think, I don't know if it was that one where you said it was clumsy and then they kind of fell. It was the scene where they were in the house. Oh, that's what it was. So I guess after she meets with them, the cloning or whatever, and she has them for a little bit, I guess there's like a group that meets to talk about their AI replacements or something at the big mansion that they were invited to. And it was like, I guess like where all the parents got together and like brought their AI children back. And I guess like I said, I guess it was like supposed
We're
to be
like
a support.
clones, or yeah, they call it like a support group.
Yeah, they were like a support group, and that's where it got really, really dark because there was the one scene where they're talking about like, oh yeah, you'll acclimate it, whatever over time, blah blah blah. But then there was a couple that met with her and was like, oh, is this your first meeting? And she's like, yeah. And she's like, what about you guys? It's like, oh, this is our fourth time. And it's like, oh, wait, your fourth time? You've lost your child 4 times? And it's like, oh, well, no, just once. But then we lost the clone in 3 other like mass shootings or school shootings.
Yeah.
And then it was like, wait, what? And it was like, yeah.
It's like, it's the same daughter, but
it's.
But so like after the third one, we just decided we're gonna have fun with it.
So.
And she's like, what? What do you mean?
And she's like, well, we gave her a different personality. Like we said that apparently you can make her religion something different. So we thought, why not make her Muslim?
Right. And she's just tall. She's just tall as hell now.
Yeah.
She's just so tall.
She walks in the room and I'm like, whoa, shit, she's tall. Like,
it was just all this goofy shit. And it's just like, it kept digging into how absurd this whole idea was.
Of distraction.
Yeah, what it means to to complete distraction from like reality.
The fact that you've lost your kid.
Because really, and it's funny because like I don't know if you noticed like kind of the acting that the mom was doing of like her face like almost starting to break down into like, I don't know, hysterics or almost like, yeah, she was almost like, what the fuck, like herself, even as she was talking about like, oh, yeah, she's so funny now. Like this 4th clone is like, she just makes us laugh and laugh, but you can see she's kind of on the verge of tears. Of like, she's about to crack. She's about to fully lose it.
That's where like the dark, like that's where.
It was so fucked up.
It was really dark. It was really like the conversation they were having of now a normalized sort of society.
Yeah.
I think at that point, like, we kind of get the point at that point of distraction, like all this forms of AI entertainment, or like we say that AI is going to do all these things in the future, and it's like, oh, it's also done this, and it's basically eliminated the human psyche because you don't have to worry about anything really.
But it was just as much about of like us using it as a crutch more than like it trying to take over our lives. We're just like letting it, basically. Like that was more, I think, that message in that sequence that like, well, we want so bad to like not feel bad,
right? That
we're just gonna let this happen.
Yeah, that sequence. That was probably about 20 minutes of the movie. That right in the middle.
That was rough. I mean, it was so good. It was so well done, and like it was so dark and funny. I don't know, but my jaw was like open like the whole time because I was so like, I cannot believe they had the stones to do this.
Well, going back to what we were saying earlier, like I felt the tension in the theater.
Oh,
the 3 of us 100%. Were kind of like laughing.
We're like, ha, ha, ha.
Like a what the fuck kind of laughing. But
and like you think about it, like none of us have kids,
right?
So like I can't imagine the people in that theater that have like young kids that I'm sure everybody goes through fucking active shooter drills these days.
That's why I was looking for the people that were going to get up and leave and 100%. Go like, you shouldn't joke about this. And I was like, I think that's what the movie's trying to say.
Yes, exactly.
They're trying to say we shouldn't really like.
We shouldn't fucking put up with it.
We shouldn't be able to use this as a joke because it is so normalized now that it is a joke.
Yeah.
And we treat it like a joke. Again, I feel like we're really like leaning in on this sequence, but it, to me, like you said, the balls it takes to put that in the movie to make the point at that point of saying, this is why AI is going to destroy us because of this, not because of active shooters, because we feel like we can just wipe it all away and not worry about it.
Because we don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, it'll be a better place. And I think that comes to full fruition when we learn about what's her name, the princess, is that her name? Oh, Ingrid is the character who she's allergic. She's the first person that the doctors have ever said like, she's allergic to
phones
Wi-Fi
and Wi-Fi.
and technology,
Yeah.
like advanced technology.
Like not all technology, I guess, but like phones in particular,
Right.
and
Wi-Fi
Wi-Fi.
in particular. Yeah. And they show her as a small child and her parents are like, "What do you mean?" And the doctor's like, "Yeah, I've never seen anything like this, but your daughter's allergic to
Yeah.
like Wi-Fi and electronics." And then like the parents are like, "Well, I mean, how's she going to live a normal life?"
Yeah.
And
How is she gonna make friends?
Yeah.
How is she gonna fall in love?
Yeah. Like it was
Which is crazy.
which is crazy, but then you think about it and it's like, okay, that I mean, how many people meet on apps?
Totally.
How many people like
I mean, yeah. like,
don't use a map, and have to use Google
Absolutely.
Maps. Like that sequence sort of summarized her of being like, oh, and this is why I was like, oh, she's born Gen X because she was born without all these things or is not allowed to touch them or is unaware of them or what, or they're kept away from her for a reason. And the whole point being is like, it's not that she doesn't want to be in with everybody else.
Yeah.
It's just, she can't. Like
Right.
it hurts her. It physically hurts her because she gets like nosebleeds and it seems like it really does like
gives her migraines and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
it does like actual damage to her. And so like, I thought that was kind of an interesting point. And then she, so her job is being a,
She's like shows
a
up
party.
as a princess at like little girls' parties.
she's like a clown
yeah,
type
kind of,
character, right?
But
Like
instead of that, like she's like
a princess.
yeah,
for
like
little
kind
girls.
of generic princess where she shows up to the princess party.
Which I thought was a very poignant, also like point of the movie where she comes to a job, and the mom's like, "Who are you?" And she's like, "I'm Ingrid." She's like, "No. Like, what princess are you? What movie are you from? Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, you can't just be a princess anymore. You have to be
You have to be a name brand.
a brand name
Yeah.
franchise." Which I thought was also funny earlier, way back when the substitute teacher's there and the student's like, "I need a Pepsi." Like, I haven't had my Pepsi. And it was almost like, wait, are they doing this as a...
Why do you keep saying Pepsi right now?
Yeah. And it was like, that's where it felt kind of like Idiocracy.
Yeah.
Like, it's like everything's branded. But to the mom at the princess party was like, well, I mean, that's not going to work. Just say you're...
like Elsa's cousin.
yeah, or something. And she's like really upset that it's not a brand name, right? And I was like... It had me think for a second going like, oh shit, like that's right. Like you wouldn't hire somebody to just be like you wouldn't hire somebody for your kid's party if it's not like something that they're not associating with television.
Yeah, that they're not excited about or something.
Right.
Yeah, totally. Of course.
And it's like, oh, but when I grew up, that was not the case, right? You would have like a clown or a magician or like a princess or, a generic, I don't know, just guy like a lucha, a wrestler kind of comes in, or I don't know, something, right? Like just imagination was there. And I think what they were kind of getting at is like, well, now everything needs to be branded. And so she ends up finding the love of her life because there's like a hippie-ish type guy that's like, oh yeah, I don't believe in phones. And so I don't use them. And so she's like, I guess she ends up falling in love with the guy. But lo and behold, at some point, the guy gets a hold of like a VR headset and he's like, oh my God, like this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And basically it's like heroin for him. And he ends up like, which is almost like more insane, but also not, because this is probably a future that is not too far from us of like, he basically just is like, oh yeah, my body will just be full-time attached to a VR headset because that way I can live in a VR world and not deal with our world.
So that's kind of 2 points in the movie. And I have to think about, I think those were the 2 questions I had when we came out of the movie. Like, who sent the VR headset to him? Because it said that it was addressed to him, but he hadn't ordered it. That was one thing I was wondering, like throughout the movie, kind of off and on. And then the other one, that the mom, when she gets that piece of technology or whatever that like connect her to her quote unquote actual son. Like where did that come from?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So like it was these interesting kind of like breadcrumbs along the way. And it's like, what does that mean? Like, Were those certain things planted so that like it would facilitate whatever was going on that was
I
happening
mean,
now?
maybe and maybe not, right? Like for the guy, Tim, who's the boyfriend of Ingrid, I would say that one's almost straightforward in that, like, I'm sure there's a list of like who doesn't have technology, right? And those people exist somewhere. If you have a job or if you have some sort of record and they're like, hey, this person's information doesn't show up on our databases, we should just send them a free unit. Like, it's almost like a drug, right? It's like, hey, why don't we just send somebody some like
A sample.
some free, heroin, see if they will be addicted to it.
Yeah.
And if not heroin, let's try like weed or let's try like something else. Like, I feel that one could probably easily be explained by like Big Brother,
Yeah.
The one that is interesting though is like, where did the technology so I guess after the mom has her son cloned, but then also sees the ramifications of like, yeah, it's really just a physical body. It's almost like saying like, oh, you can have an interactive picture, but
Right.
that interactive picture actually is around your house. And, is a little bit on the dumb side, but it's your son, right? Because that's what you care about. But it almost like this version that she was given by some guy who was like saying, I can see that you're grieving, and I can tell that you're not adapting like everybody else wants you to with like your son or your clone son. And he was given a box that I guess is maybe more of like
Like a hard drive or something.
well, it was an AI like the way AI is currently, which is like it's a I don't know, it's a bunch of data, I guess, that maybe they show her like entering a bunch of stuff into a computer, and then I guess it simulates how her son's like conscious would, I guess, be. And so it speaks to her like her son, much closer than the actual physical clone was. But yeah, who built that is interesting, because that could either be one of two things, right? Which is like, that is in order, like, it's the classic
It was the thing that was like telling her what to do. So like, where did that
right,
come
but that's
from?
what I'm saying. Like, it's either one of two things, I think, which is one, your classic like time travel trope of like something has to exist in order for all of this to play out. And that means then, does the AI build itself and is also self-aware to not, it's self-aware to know that it gets too powerful, or it will get too powerful. So at some point it branches off and says, I'm going to build something that will start something to allow time travel to happen. And I forget what it's called when you do the time travel, like
Paradox or
well, it is a paradox, but there is like a point when the paradox starts that it's like it's kind of like the chicken egg, right? Like, does this unit build itself but wouldn't exist if like AI didn't exist? It's like a whole thing. So I don't know where that comes from, because the guy that talks to her about it, he's very secretive as well too. He's like, it's much better than what they are doing, and it's like he made it seem like it's kind of indie underground sort of tech. It's like good use of AI technology, because maybe, but at the same time, like, it allowed her to grieve. Like, she was having much more of an emotional like impact to it than the clone was, but because she was able to talk to it. But it's like, yeah, but who made that? Did AI make that for her to actually defeat itself later, or because it knew that it would eventually get too strong, or what? Because really, that really wasn't her son. I think it was like a very smart AI that could emulate her son, but also knew that it needed to destroy itself before it got too powerful. So it's kind of like this chicken egg thing, sort of. That's how I saw that.
weird.
It's a very sci-fi sort of tropey thing, because
I just thought it was interesting that they didn't allow for like, they didn't over explain so much of that, as far as like paradox this and like who made that? And all. It was just like, no, we're just going on this adventure. Just come on. Just come on. You don't need to know because it's too complicated.
Well, no, but they also.
No, I mean, not in a bad way. I'm just
Right.
saying, like, I think it's interesting that they left some kind of threads dangling.
Well, I think you kind of have to when it comes to time travel. It's always going to happen. Like, there's.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. Like, it's so easy to try to over-explain. And I mean, it brings to mind, like, that whichever Matrix sequel it was, where, like, the architect or whoever it was just in that room just talking at Keanu Reeves for, like, 20 minutes about, like, this is the Matrix, and
You're like,
it's computer magic.
You're the
and
200th
you're
version of
computer Jesus or whatever.
Right.
Like, it just went on, and so it just that kind of temptation to kind of over-explain the philosophy that you're trying to put out in the movie, basically. Like,
Well, yeah, but there's always that wrinkle, is what I'm saying. Remember that movie Predestination?
Mm-hmm.
This happens as well too. Like, something has to happen in order for all these sequences to play out, and it's actually that sequence of her getting the earpiece is the thing that makes all of this possible.
right.
And so that has to happen. Who does it is almost besides the point, right? Because it has to happen in order for all these things. It's like the whole, what is it? Like, if you're giving birth to the person that is going to invent time travel, why wouldn't you just kill the mom,
Right.
so that time travel never happens? And it's like, well, it's still going to happen at some point.
Somebody else
Will do it, but it's still in the sequence of events.
Yeah.
And they talk about that in this movie too, because remember, he says, he's like, wait, why don't we just go back and kill the kid,
Right.
so that none of this happens? And then he, like, I that's what I love about the tone of this movie, because Sam Rockwell's like, A, that's fucking dark. He's like killing a 9-year-old.
What the fuck?
He's like, and B,
I love that was his, like, moral, like, stance, as far as, like,
yeah. But then he's like, B, he's like, AI is so interwoven in everything now that it's not a moment that it happens.
Yeah.
And I thought that was like an interesting sort of twist on this whole time travel, like sort of trying to stop something from happening, because it's not a singular moment. It's like a series of things, or at least that's the way they thought it was. But I do think that child being shot in school and her getting that box is the event that actually kicks this whole thing off, because it leads to other events that circle back around, that it's like, oh, okay, well, that ends up sort of working out. You know what I mean? Like, it has to happen in order for everything else to happen. And that was like, that's going to probably be one of those points where people are just going to, like, everybody always tries to, like, you can do it with Back to the Future, you can do it with anything, where you can say,
I
like,
just like that fun argument that you want to have about these kinds of movies.
Yeah.
Because it's like, because what if you just do this instead of that instead? Because, like, it makes me kind of... Anyway, it's fine.
yeah. No. I'm not trying to argue. I'm just saying, like, in science fiction, you always are going to have this, like, wrinkle, because it has to exist in order for time travel to work. Like, because time travel is not really a real thing that could actually happen. But regardless, it's funny because, like I said, the whole weight of the movie is really, like you were saying, I guess it is like WALL-E in some degree, except we're not all big fat people that, like, have just, our muscles have, like, atrophied away. But it was very poignant.
Sorry.
It was very poignant in what it was trying to say, of, like, maybe we all should take a break from, like, all of this. And, like, I don't know if it means turning everything all off, but it definitely, there is, like, you know what, maybe people just need to feel like being a human. Like, that is more important than any advances that we'll ever make, because that is, like, the separation between us and, like, advancement and actually, I don't know, like, it was interesting because then the movie, like, ends in a bit of a I don't know, like a ball buster of, like, this, like, this is what, like, the 118th time that this has happened, and there will be 119th time that it'll happen.
At least, yeah.
Well, at the very least, because we know that this sequence didn't actually work out. But that doesn't spoil the movie, because I think that the point is beyond how the movie ends as much as it is like what the movie is trying to say, which I thought, that's why I was like, man, this is one of my favorite movies I've seen in a while, because I left going like a gut punch in a way that's like, oh, I see what you're getting at. Like, I felt it throughout the movie, but now like it really makes the point that like everything's in our hands, dependent on how we want to like handle everything moving forward, right? Like,
yeah, like it does talk about like obviously like end of like end of half of the population in the near future, but I thought it was actually kind of interesting because there was still something like lighthearted about it, because in a sense, like you're right, like they were still saying like it doesn't have to be like this. Like if you guys just chill out on
yeah,
all of the
or maybe become a little more
feeding the
reasonable.
yeah, just stop feeding the fucking algorithm like
Right.
so much, then it doesn't have to come to this.
Right.
But this is like the most extreme version of like how bad it could be.
Right. Yeah, it's funny because like, much like I was saying earlier, instead of being scared of an unstoppable robot in the Terminator, it's like it's an unstoppable force that's really been created by us. And
Right, it's more like the apathy than anything else, because it's like how do you get people to care? How do you get people to like put down their phones and like try like literally anything else?
yeah, try
except
engaging
scrolling? Right,
in a very different way.
right.
And I thought, I don't know, I thought that was like, I know there's a lot of young people that are going to hate this movie because they're like, oh, what are you saying? I can't use my phone. I get it. I can't use my phone. I'm like, that's not the point. Like, it really is just what else? Like, what else could you do with your brain if you wanted to engage? Like,
Yeah.
they clearly are not saying like, oh, in moderation, like the internet's fine. They're just saying like anything,
Like literally anything else.
just engage
Yeah.
your brain in a way that is healthy instead of constant. And it's like, it made me feel old for a minute because I wanted to lean over to you and say, is that how TikTok works? Like, literally you just swipe up and down as you're looking at videos.
It is kind of funny because it showed them like swiping up, down, left, right. So I'm like, I'm not even sure what I'm looking at.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I don't have TikTok either. So.
Yeah. I have no idea how TikTok works. I just know that there's tons of those types of videos.
Yeah.
And I know that I think it's really just feeding you like, oh, I like this one, so I guess I go in a direction or another. But the way they would show that was very zombie-like. And I can hear the people, I can absolutely hear the people that would be like, I get it. Oh, okay, Mom, fine. Or even like, I won't use my phone so much. And it's like, you know what? You use your phone all you want, but like, this is probably a more realistic, scary like view of the future, because that's more likely to happen. And this is actually something that I know you and I have talked about. It's like, I don't think that AI rockets from cool looking like drones are going to kill us.
Yeah.
It's going to be this, because like we are getting dumber and we're feeding an AI.
Now. I mean, it is demonstrably like that now, like by kind of
I think there's data to
a
back it
scary
up.
margin.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's just the fact that the literacy rate has gone down across the board.
Critical thinking skills,
just general processing skills have gone down.
Reading, writing is like
all of it. It's just like abysmal at
Yeah.
this point. And it is because of like shorter attention spans.
Right.
And if you're watching a video, what do you need to read for? And like if you can just text somebody, what do you need to write entire sentences for?
Right.
And it's just like on and on and on, where it's like, I know it's like, oh, haha, like, okay, boomer, kind of like, what are you complaining about? We can't write cursive anymore, which, whatever, I'll complain about that all I want. But like, just this idea of, I don't know, just moving away from and disengaging from like intellectualism, as far as like, well, what do I need that for? If I can just become TikTok famous, who cares?
Right.
If I can make money off of streaming, what do I need any of that for? And it's just this basic idea of like, you just need to stay connected. You just need to understand.
Right. You need to be engaged.
You just need to know things.
Right.
Like how it's like, it really comes right back down to that. I just love like he the Sam Rockwell character, he has a map that he has like hand drawn, and it's like it's a great looking map as like somebody who appreciates maps. And the guy that's with him is like, "What the hell is that?" And he's like, "It's my fucking map." Like,
Yeah.
what do you mean? Like, I want to see your map, like motherfucker. Like, I mean, just that kind of like level of engagement. As far, I don't know, I just kind of despair a little bit, and we've had conversations like this before. Kind of despair a little bit of the state of things for like, as an old person, I guess, like kids these days, like.
Right.
I kind of worry about them,
I mean,
honestly.
I do, but then also like at the same time, it's like maybe they will wise up the same way that we sort of have. But my hope there isn't as hopeful as I am, because like I can stand in an elevator and I can stay in a room without pulling out my phone. It's not that hard. And I know a lot of people that cannot. And it's just like, I don't understand why it's so hard. Like, and for me, it's like, is it because I've gotten older, or is it because I grew up only like learning about this tech as it was developing? And now we have like kids that literally will, as soon as they're born, they'll have like a tablet or something ahead of them. And I had a VCR and a TV or whatever, but I mean, there is something to be said about it being the way it is now and how different it is.
And I mean, to everybody's credit, including to young people, I mean, it's explicitly designed to be addictive.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of, it's kind of saying like, I'm going to put all this candy in front of a kid and expect them not to eat any of it.
That's how you'll teach them discipline. It's like, I don't know
like,
about
literally,
that. Like,
absolutely not. So
it's designed, yeah.
So it's kind of like designed for people to fail as far as resisting.
Well, and the scarier part too, right, is it's now interweaved into the
100%.
fabric of like, if the airlines go down, or if traffic whatever is messed up because of how it's intertied to like certain parts of technology or whatever. And so I can see that being like a scary thing, but like it still kind of boils down to, right, like, can people like problem solve at a basic level?
Yes.
We don't, because you're in an elevator for a couple minutes and it's like, oh, I have to get on my phone. Whereas like, I don't know, when I'm in an elevator and I'm just have my thoughts to myself, I think about things. Like I think about, I wonder how this elevator works, or I wonder how the mechanics, so that like,
I mean, just
curiosity, I think is part of that.
And not even that, just like, it's okay to be bored every once in a while.
Right.
Just sit with your thoughts and take a walk, whatever, and I'm not saying I'm any better than anybody else, because yeah, sure, I scroll a lot too, but to be, I don't know, just the value of not being scared to be away from your phone, I feel like is
right.
A whole conversation on its own.
What was it that we were listening to, that podcast where they were saying like, it's okay to like be like freaking out a little bit in your head. Because you're not being distracted by your phone and all the other things. It's like, not because it's torturing, it's because you need to learn to process.
Yeah, you need to learn to process. Absolutely.
You start to think like, okay, why am I feeling this way? What can I do about it? Maybe I need to get some blood pumping in me, or maybe I really need to write something out, right? Like write a story or draw a picture or do something that
to like engage
your brain
with processing that feeling.
Right. And doing something with it, and not distracting it completely of like, oh, well, if I look at enough stuff online, I'll forget about it. But then all the stuff's going to come rushing back. And the minute it does, you grab your phone, and it's an endless like loop. Vicious cycle that it's okay to be like sad on a day and then be like, man, I don't know why I'm sad.
Yeah.
And I'm just crying and I'm just kind of freaking out.
Kind of freaking out. You have to go through all of that stuff though. Like,
right.
I mean,
you can't
realistically, you can't just ignore it and I
think it's said in the movie too, where they were like, that's what destroys us, is that we just can't. We can't.
Yeah.
And you see it throughout, like, I remember it said somewhere near the end, and then you think back to the movie and the moms are like, oh, it's like my third kid that I've lost, whatever. Like it's
wild.
It's like I don't know. It's like dropping they treat it like it's like, oh, like you got a pizza that you got delivered and it flopped on the ground. You're like, oh no.
Yeah, that's
Oh
fine.
well, that's
I get
fine.
another one.
We'll just I'll just get another one. We'll get a large one this time.
Yeah,
We'll get a large one. It's okay. It'll be fine. And to treat that moment that same way, it was very like, it's very poignant, and that I think that's what really like. It's such a brave movie. It's so deep. It has a lot of layers. There's so much, like, I want to go back and watch this movie again, even though it made me think, like, is this like a one-time movie because I know how it's going to end now? But then I was like, no, not really. Like, I'm...
Yeah, it feels very, honestly, even when he was still at the cafe trying to talk to people into joining his mission or whatever, it kind of felt D&D to me, as far as like, okay, we're building our team. We gotta go do this thing.
That was kind of funny.
We gotta,
I did like that.
we gotta fight the monster or whatever. Like, it felt very much like, okay, we're starting our quest. We gotta
Right.
do this thing. So it's funny because I leaned over to you when the movie finished. I'm like, I can watch a whole season of this, like, because it could literally be. And granted, I feel like that's a hallmark of a really good movie, is you want to leave them wanting more.
Right.
Not saying that you should do a sequel. If it's worked its way through the storyline, you should just leave it alone, which I feel like is a lost art this day and age. But just even that, right? That inclination to be like, oh, give me more. Give me more seasons, give me more episodes, give me more movies, instead of sitting and thinking like, I wonder what could happen, and writing that down for yourself, or
Right.
like talking to people about what could be, what could it mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like there should be, you should be fine with just like talking it out, like wishing for stuff
You're
or
100
talking through stuff.
Yeah, you're 100% right. And it makes me think of a time like the Big Lebowski, when people
Yeah.
were like, I've heard of people that have written fan fiction about like,
Totally.
well, we know that there is, like, he even says at the end of the Big Lebowski, right? He's like, and I know for a fact there's a little Lebowski
Little
on the way.
Lebowski.
And people have written fan fiction about like what the little Lebowski would be like. I don't need to see that movie, but there used to be a time I remember in high school when people
Yeah.
would hand you like a notebook of a story.
Yeah.
And you just read it and you're like, oh man, that was a lot of fun. Like,
That
that
was
was
neat.
neat.
That was neat.
your perspective of it.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
But
And
it doesn't have to be a thing, right?
no,
like,
it doesn't need to get turned
I
into
feel
a...
like so much of that kind of shit, like,
it's
I
almost
hate
said
to
in...
say it, but like the stuff that, like, I think stuff like that is great, honestly, like fan fiction or fan casting.
Right. It should exist
stuff
here
like
on my
that.
shelf.
Yeah. It should, that's fine. You know what I mean? Like, you think through that, because that in itself is a creative process. But not every fucking thing has to be another big giant thing. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's so... I hate to say, but even, I don't know, maybe this is like a completely different trajectory at this point now that we're talking about it. But like, it makes me think of like when we were forever ago, to our young viewers. But back in the day when we were watching Lost as it came out on TV, and everybody's like, blah, 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 talking about what could it mean? What does it mean? What is the island? And like all of these fan theories, and like got louder and louder in the message boards, back in the day when
Right.
there was message boards, just like fans getting so like rabid about like, oh, it has to mean this. It has to, like, what else could it mean? And then the fucking writers kind of like buckling and caving to be kind of contrarian, or whatever it was that they did. They maybe listened too much to the fans, or they decided like, well, I don't want to be like what the fans are telling me, so I'm going to do this thing. Regardless, like, they listened too much to the fans, and then they did a thing that like may or may not have been in the initial original vision,
Right.
because they let them drive it. And I think that's something kind of sad about like ceding that creative power to like people uninvolved in the process at all.
Well, I think...
Because I get that, like, my point of view with art, right, is like, once you release it to the world, like, it belongs to everybody else.
Right.
But there is a lot of agency that comes with creation of that art. So I don't know why I'm going on this tangent.
Well-
but like, I feel like it just, I think it kind of goes back to the whole like, we want to consume so much media and like even like clips and skits or whatever on all these platforms, and we want to consume and consume and consume. So it's getting created and created for us when it doesn't have to be. Like, you can go create something and that's fine, or you can just think of something and it'd be a fun, you know, what is it, thought experiment between you and your friends or you and your husband or whatever. Like, you can just talk about it. It doesn't have to be something else that you can consume.
Well, and I think that honestly is encapsulated in this entire movie, because this movie is relatively original. Like, time travel obviously isn't. It's a unique story. It's very like mirror like back to us. However, it also makes the point too, right? Of like, not everything needs to be like a spin-off of a thing, and then you franchise attach it.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
you have to merchandise it.
Right. Like, to what you're saying,
Blah,
like
blah, blah. Yeah.
everything, like, oh yeah, we should make another Big Lebowski. We got to make sure that there's enough of a fan base and make sure that it's like, why can't you just make an original story?
Yeah.
And I think that's what this movie is in a way, but that movie goes out of its way to say, like, what princess are you? You're not from a movie.
Right.
You don't count.
Right.
And also, like, I need a Pepsi. Yeah. Like, everything is so branded, and it's actually, I mean, we kind of skipped over some of that stuff, but when the clones are made, they are built also, but with advertisements.
Oh my God. That's how they subsidize the price. It's like, well, if your son can like spout off ads, he'll be even cheaper.
Yeah. And
it's
so,
like, what the fuck?
Yeah. So your kid likes particular drinks because he's been programmed to like them. But I mean, you're going to drink those drinks anyways, right? So what does it hurt? We've also become normalized with like so much commercialization that like it's in everything unless you pay to have it out. Yeah.
I think that's such a huge part of like the whole movie is like overconsumption, whether it's like ideas or capitalistic kind of like just items or goods and services, like just that constant need to kind of like feed the masses, whether it's like ideas or products or whatever.
Right. Again, at a distraction level, right?
Right. Just complete, like, I don't know, annihilation of like creativity or like individualism or just original thought in general.
Well, I feel like we've said quite a bit on that. And I feel like it's movies like this that make that point that actually get me excited about so as much of a view of ourselves that this movie is saying, this is like, we are headed down this path, and like it's almost no doubt about it at this point because we're living it, and it surrounds us and it's everywhere. In a very odd way though, this movie has like a lot of hope of like saying like, you get the right people around you, you get the right sort of scenarios, and like you can push back on this, you know what I mean? Like, and while they are trying to save the world, the way I sort of saw it as we were driving home and I was thinking about more and more, it's like, this actually made me think about us, like you and I, and like when we have our movie nights, when we have people over, like we have people over to engage with them. While yes, we are watching a movie, like half of the time though, we're standing around and talking, and we're like engaging with each other. We're looking at each other in the face. Like, we're not all like on our phones or staring at a screen in a circle. Like, we're actually like engaged. Yeah. And I think that adds value to us and the people around us. And then, we go and watch a movie because it gives us more stuff to talk in and be engaged about. And this movie, clearly, we've talked about it for now like an hour and a half, and it has engaged us enough to have this sort of conversation and say these things and actually kind of believe them. And I don't know, it's exciting in a way for me that gives me hope that like through times like that we're living through right now, like people will rise up and like go against it and want to be creative or come up with something or do a thing or this. And it's funny because that's part of what Sam Rockwell's message is when he's standing up and doing his Pulp Fiction like heist like speech where he's saying like it's a revolution, man. Like this is us. Like we need to rise up against this.
And I love the idea. He starts at just a cafe, right?
Yeah.
It's regular
Bunch
people.
of nobodies.
None of them are trained.
Right. Why wouldn't he go to an army surplus store and find like army guys?
Right. Why doesn't he have like special ops with him or whatever?
Right.
It's just people, because that's what it's going to take at the end of the day. It's just like everyday people that decide that like, I got to do something.
Right.
Whether it's just for myself or for my family or for the community. It doesn't have to be like these big sweeping changes. But like, because at a certain point, you have to decide on your own, like at the self level, you know.
Right.
I just have to do something.
Well, and it's funny, right? Because the last thing I'll say on this, and then we will go to our next segment, but it really does in some ways make me think about what I have tried to do with the Dallas VHS swap and things where I'm like, I'm an introvert in the truest form. Like I like being home. I like noodling on my notebooks. I like noodling on my computer, building like art. Maybe I should be building more art with my hands. Oh, which, I mean, to be fair, I guess I like building structures whenever it's not like 2,000 degrees in the garage or whatever for, you know, putting something together with wood or whatever. But it's funny because in some ways it's almost like what Sam Rockwell is trying to do is what some of us want to do, which is like fight against social media and fight against all these things to say like, hey, maybe we should all just hang out for a little bit. Let's all be cool, but let's hang out. And it's funny because when the one guy's like, I'll join you. He's like, actually not you. He's like, cause you got a bad knee and
you fail every time.
Yeah. It just never works out, man. And you just need to realize you have a bad knee. And it almost feels like that's what you're trying to do when you're trying to meet people that engage your brain and you want to be surrounded by those people. And you're saying like, I want people that are going to be engaging and talking and looking at me when we talk about things we care about, instead of just like having people over because I don't know, they've got, I mean, they bring nothing to the conversation or whatever. And I feel like that's what this movie was. It's like, I need to bring people that bring something to trying to solve this problem together. And we all have these like attributes about us that like make up this ragtag team of six. Even the Uber driver, which we won't spoil that, but I thought that was like a really nice touch of like, he's like, you know, I don't know, dude, I'm just an Uber driver. He's like, I'm a really good Uber driver. And it turns out he is, and for a very specific reason. And I was like, man, that is really well written, really well thought out. But yeah, I mean, I can't recommend this movie enough. And hopefully it hits for a lot of people that love cinema, but also love like good storytelling in a way that, yes, feels maybe a little in your face and on the nose. But I mean, if you look a little bit beyond that, it's like, it's really just saying like, hey, just do something.
Yeah.
Like do anything.
Yeah.
Just do something. Like,
yeah. Don't be complacent, right? Like that's really at the end of the day, that's what it's asking. It's not even asking to be like, take down big government or take down whatever. It's like, it's not even trying to take down like AI centers or whatever. It's just like, no, just like pay attention.
Well, and
look around.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? They're only trying to put in safety measures in the AI. They're not.
Yeah, they're not even trying to stop it because it's like inevitable. It's going to happen regardless. It's just like something to kind of
slow it down.
Yeah, just,
that allows us to still use our brains.
Right, just shield it or something. But like, yeah, at the end of the day, it's just like, just wake up.
Yep.
Like, just look around.
Oh man, well. This is going to be a really challenging portion that's going to it's going to require us to use our brains quite a bit, to be honest, of two things. And one new thing we're adding to season 3 of Film to Table. So I hope you're ready. So
what?
we're going to pick up, you know, what would we pair this movie with from a food standpoint, but the new thing that we're adding to this year is who, amongst everybody in this movie, and you use them by, you can either have the man from the future, Susan, Ingrid, Mark, Janet, Scott, Tim, who in this movie would make the best sandwich
Ooh,
of the group? I have my answer already.
the best sandwich.
But, you have like the man from the future, or you have Susan, who is the mom, the grieving mom, she's made maybe plenty of sandwiches for her son who's now gone. You have Ingrid, who's been at
Okay.
plenty of kid events and can't be near technology, so I don't know how well she can put together a sandwich without Google. You have Mark, who's the substitute teacher, who seems to have a lot of anxiety and a lot of imposter syndrome. Janet, who's, I guess, his love interest. I guess she's the full-time teacher and he's just a sub.
Yeah.
And I guess they're in a relationship because apparently he had lost 6 jobs prior to this one.
Yeah.
Then you have Scott, who's the Uber driver. You have Tim, who's the doesn't use technology until he gets hooked with it. Those are most of our main characters. Like there's some of the other, you have the AI boy and whatnot. Yeah. But I feel like from the main cast,
who would make the best sandwich?
Who would make the best sandwich? We don't have to necessarily go into what sandwich they would make unless we want to, but who would make the best sandwich of this group?
I honestly, almost from the jump when you ask, I have a feeling it would be Mark, the substitute teacher.
Oh. Why's that?
Immediately.
That's weird. That's not, I wouldn't have gone there at all.
Because she's insinuated he's had 6 jobs.
Okay.
And if you assume 6 jobs, that means it's like, quote unquote, some of it's going to be unskilled labor.
Yeah.
And I would bet money that at least one of those jobs was in the kitchen.
Okay, that's fair. I don't know if that's unskilled labor. I wouldn't say
that's
that.
That's what,
that's how, the rich people say it.
Yeah. It's absolutely not unskilled labor.
Yeah, that is high-skilled labor.
But yeah, if you're willing to work, even whether you know a whole lot about food or not, you're welcome in the kitchen. So I feel like.
So you think he would be good at portioning out the right amount of meats and sauces and not over saucing it, or you know.
I think
probably could pick out the lettuce that is the good stuff and not like the old.
He probably makes a killer Reuben.
Okay, that's fair. I was going to go with Scott, the Uber driver, because I would
that
imagine
was going to be my next one.
I was going to say I imagine he's probably picked up more than plenty of sandwiches.
Yep.
And that this guy either showed up to a joint and he's like, yeah, I'm not delivering there. This sketch, or they I don't know, they run on their bill, or, somebody screws up or whatever. This guy's probably had plenty of those sandwiches that he's probably just took for himself. Yep. And I would imagine he's like, you know what? I bet you I could make this sandwich, a little smoked chicken or a little
paying
this.
$15 for that.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Fuck that. I'm just going to go ahead and eat whatever. So yeah, I was gonna go with Scott.
I can totally see that. That was gonna be my next answer.
Yeah, he's got all the experience of knowing the smells of having to. Man, I couldn't even imagine. I mean, I guess I could, but if you're an Uber driver and you're going to all these places that sometimes are really good food, and then you're having to drive around constantly with this good smelling food in your car all the time.
Uber driver though, not Uber Eats driver.
Well, I would assume that. It's Uber Eats as well. When you don't have somebody to drive around, you're going to go and pick up whatever. Yeah. It's all under the same umbrella. It's just a different app on the front end. We ordered through Uber Eats, but they're still using Uber drivers.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was going to be my thoughts. So what would we pair this movie food wise with? This is an interesting one because it's all over the place. I mean, there's a couple of highlights, right? They're in a diner to start with. And there's a couple other things throughout the movie that maybe could signal kind of that stuff. But I don't know. What do you have any thoughts on what we would put on the table with this movie to pair up with it?
I mean, I just think of my favorite thing I get at a diner when we go eat at a diner.
Tuna melt?
Huh?
Tuna melt?
No.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely not.
You did have a tuna melt, remember, in Chicago?
Yeah, it was fine. I don't know. I ordered it again. No, my favorite thing to get at a diner is usually hash browns, corned beef, eggs over easy, everything layered on top of each other, hot sauce on top.
Huh. I know you like corned beef. I know that's like something you kind of grew up with.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was like, I mean, I guess, yeah, that's like a diner food. I guess I can definitely see that with like the real, like the plate that would like give you a concussion if you smack somebody over the head with it. I can definitely see that. Yeah, okay, that's fair. I'm going to this is kind of, you're going to say this is a cop out, but I think it's kind of diner food as well.
Yeah.
Which had me thinking of the diner at the beginning of the movie, but we had it for dinner, which is basically grilled chop steak, which you said is basically just like a hamburger patty.
Kind of, yeah.
They say natural sauce, which is funny to me because it's like,
what does that mean?
Like you mean
natural from what?
Yeah, it's like you mean just the juice that is run out of the meat. Yes,
the grease. What? Do you mean?
And so, yeah, with that, mashed potatoes and like a macaroni and a dinner roll.
Yeah.
On one of those big ass heavy plates that would like knock you a concussion if you were to actually get hit with that. But yeah, that's what I would do, and that's what we had for dinner.
Yep.
Or we all did, all three of us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I got overloaded with the options, and I was gonna think about fish. It turns out there's like 5 different kinds of fish, and I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna get chopstick.
Yeah, I mean, you can do what you want. I'm not telling you what to do.
Fine.
But getting fish at a cafeteria style place is, I don't know. That should be lower option. It should always be things that can be very well cooked, which like meat or chicken, maybe pork. But well, yeah, we're back at it. We're back on the wagon. It's been a little bit of a time off here, but I will say, like I said, 2026 is off to like a pretty good start.
For movies.
For movies.
Not in general.
Not really anything else.
Because Jesus Christ.
Yeah. We could definitely use a time machine right about now, but we'll play the cards as they are dealt. Yeah, if you like what you're listening to, you can rate and review us on wherever it is you're listening to this podcast or whatever platform. You can email us at topshelfvideopodcast@gmail.com. That goes to both the Top Shelf Video podcast, but also this podcast as well. You can, I don't know, send us some Uber Eats. We have a list of movies that we keep saying we're going to do. We're going to try some things this year. You got some Christmas gifts that I think we can use for this, so we need to like plan up. But we definitely would like to hear people's recommendations as well in movies and in food. And on the food side, if you have recommendations on like, I wonder how you make a such and such. Ooh. We would love to hear that. And then we can try to pair a movie to whatever it is
I like that.
A food suggestion is.
I like that.
And then you can do a breakdown of how to make a certain thing because you're pretty good at all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, we'd love to get some feedback or love to hear what people have suggestions for. But yeah, this has me in a very like sci-fi sort of mood, but I don't know. I don't know if I want to go down the rabbit hole of science fiction or you know, we've
it kind of also made me think of Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Absolutely, I was going to say that, and I kind of forgot to mention that. But yes, it felt very much like that.
Yeah,
a very fun,
it's just like a crazy adventure, but like a lot of heart.
And a lot, and something important to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, not trying to belittle anybody's like thoughts on things, but it's like it's maybe a little on the nose, but I think it's saying something that maybe we all need to hear right now. And sometimes, like even if the discussion of how it revolves around school shootings is really difficult to hear, it's like, maybe that's how we should
100%
talk about it.
100%. And it's crazy that we don't talk about it anymore because it happens so much.
Yeah.
Insane.
So yeah, I very much enjoy this movie and look forward to anything these guys are going to do. I look forward to when this comes out on disc. Yeah. Because I am definitely picking this up as soon as I can get my hands on it. But yeah, I guess it's time to wrap things up. Put away the cutlery, and we have to our signature sign out that we've been practicing for a long time, and we're not going to get it wrong on the first take. But remember to tip your waitstaff, and I'm not cutting this part out. We're not doing it again.
Okay. High five your cooks.
Okay, fine. That's it. The end.
Sorry.
Over. Love you.
I love you. I can't remember what it was. What was it?
And buy a round for the back of the house.
Was that it?
It's always been that. You were the back of the house. You always wanted drinks. Ugh. That's it. I'm turning it off. Going to bed.